Good morning, everyone. On behalf of this MySET, I would like to welcome everyone for this very significant engineering and technology week. And this is the second year MySET is actually conducting this engineering and technology week with the focus on the sustainability, global sustainability. And I guess if you have been moving around, attending webinars and all those, you will realize that MySET actually takes a very serious initiative towards helping to create awareness and education to the general public, whether it is technologies, engineers, or technicians, to actually be aware what we do today, and will impact our life in this life, plus also the future of our generation. So I applaud actually the MySET initiative, especially Prof. Dr. Tinia, who actually without tirelessly continue to put in the effort, so that we can share the information. Today I'm here as the head of the MySET Technician Interest Group. And I would like to share from the technician perspective, how the technician can actually contribute to the global sustainable development. That is my main focus, especially. A lot of people thinks about when it comes to technical work, people only think about the engineers and the technologies. But to me, there is one more group of people that is very important, equally important as the engineers. And they are the technicians, They are the technicians. Okay, I have moved to the second slide. Do you all see my slide moving?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And before I move on further, I would just like to make a disclaimer, Now, this disclaimer is to share with everyone that the presentation here is actually based on general information and experience to be shared to the targeted audience. We targeted audience like students, industry practitioners, sometimes academicians. We just want to share this experience so that the knowledge can be actually disseminated on further. And the following presentation is purely for knowledge purposes, knowledge purposes, and any part of this presentation does not negate the current requirement or the specifications laid down by the regulators or the industry. Okay, there are a lot of rules in Malaysia, environmental protection rules, sustainable rules, all these rules actually take precedence. The policy or the government regulations take precedence than what I'm saying here. I'm just sharing my personal observation and experience that I've encountered during my last 33 years in the industry. And a lot of this information here are actually accessible or downloaded from the various sources. Some of it are from the internet, some of it are from the books, some of it are actually from the websites or the research paper. One thing good about this when we become a presenter is that we actually need to study the information, and then the information that we get, we couple up with the experience, and then we will see what is the real output, what is the real result, and then we will share with the public. My topic today is actually the technician, Not people talk about engineers, technologies, but today I want to talk about technician, the importance of technician and their crucial contribution to the global sustainable development. Crucial contribution of the technician to the global sustainable development. What I'm going to cover today is that, number one, I'm going to go through a little bit of introduction, and then I'll take you through into the current concern of the world. I focus on specifically two areas. Of course, there are a lot of concern in this world, but for my presentation today, I will cover two areas. And then I want, through this webinar, I hope everybody can review back, do a review back, the technician who has been supporting our daily work, our daily operations, our livelihood, our car, our electrical appliances at home, how these technicians, they have actually supported us, and how important they are, yeah. And also the technicians, just like the engineers and the technologists, they also have a agenda or an effort to be put in terms of contributing to the sustainable development goals, especially to make the world that we are living in a better place. Technician is important, yeah. Technician is important. And of course, I'll sum up this presentation with a conclusion, and hopefully everyone will have a better awareness about the world that we are facing and what we should do, yeah. Okay, a little bit of my background, yeah. I'm actually from I'm actually came from the aviation industry. And I started off in my school in MBS KL back in 1977 in MBS KL. And then I actually studied until upper six, yeah. Upper six, when Malaysia Airlines actually offered me a position of a trainee artisan, yeah. Trainee artisan means somebody who work with their hands, yeah, hands. Somebody who are trained to be good at using tools, to be good at removing tools, installing items, change component, modify things, modify with skills and all those. So last time in MS, we call it trainee artisan. Today, they are no more called trainee artisan, they are called trainee technician. So I started in Malaysia Airlines as a trainee artisan or a trainee technician. My training at that time was very strict, yeah, 3 years, yeah. 3 years just to be a technician only. So you can understand, a technician is not anybody can be a technician one. It actually has to go through a very rigorous kind of training, especially as an aircraft artisan. You bayangkan, ya, bayangkan 3 years of artisan training apprenticeship. Kalau nowadays, like my daughter, she does a business degree, 3 tahun, get a bachelor of business administration. But you see, for us, we study and we work 3 years, tapi just a technician. So you have to understand that technicians punya skills and knowledge are actually equally as important like any other graduates one. Yeah. And of course, in 1992, I established as an aircraft artisan. At that time, I maintained 737. And then in 1993, in 1993, because I passed several exams, then I was recruited back into Malaysia Airlines. Now, from a technician to be trained as a aircraft engineers. So I went on additional training about 1 year, and finally I established as a 737 licensed aircraft engineer. Tapi, remember, I started off as an aircraft technician. So all those hand skills, all those skills that is required, how to, remove items, how to actually rig the items, it is already with me. So an engineer who comes from the technician punya skill, he will be able to actually perform, much in depth, when we come to carry out aircraft work, And in 1995, I left Malaysia Airlines and I joined EVA Airways, and I was there as a station engineer. And I went to in 2002. Actually, I actually left and joined KLM Royal Dutch Airlines, and I was there with Royal Dutch Airlines in 2002 until the year 2006. And then in 2006, I actually came back from KLIA and back to Subang Airport and established myself, set up the corporate jet MRO. And of course, throughout my whole life is actually working in aircraft engineering and maintenance until today. Until today. All right. Sustainable development goals. What is it all about? Especially for the last 5, 8 years or 10 years, or probably even those who are much more senior, you will realize that in 1972, 1972 United Nations conference, United Nations had a conference on the environment and sustainable development. At that time, I was only 22 years old. That is actually about, about the 50 years ago, 50 years ago. Now, this sustainable development, why is it so important? Because the scientists, the politicians, the educated, very highly educated people, they are already seeing by the rate how we live at that time, by the way we live, by the way we actually do things, we will have a problem in the future, especially in terms of whether we can have continue to have a good positive environment, good economic growth, good resources. We at that time, United Nations already saw it already. So in 1987, the United Nations came up with a certain concept, actually under the report called the Brundtland report, that talks about sustainable development concept. In this report, it actually starts to warn us. You're talking about 1987, they are starting to warn us the negative environmental consequences of economic growth, globalization, industrialization, and population growth, because of the sustainable element is not strong. It's not strong. Yeah. So the United Nations at that time focused on area like environmental degradation. Already started talking already. We are producing so much of industry output. We are producing so much of air pollution. We are producing so much of, yes, we have for producing a lot of products, cars, TVs, and all those. But then at the same time, if we are not careful, we are harming the environment. And this environment, we only have one Earth. If this Earth is damaged, if the river is polluted, if the air is polluted, how are the rest of our people going to live? So at that time, these issues has already been raised up already. But in many countries, they are still not very serious and committed, and see the problems that we're going to face in the future, which already start happening already. Yeah, it's already start happening. So 2015, basically the serious discussion, about sustainable development goals really fully pressured and implemented by the United Nations, in the United Nations. But we have to understand first, what is sustainability? It's important for all of us to understand, to sometimes to sit down, to stop, whatever that we are doing, whether we are engineers, academicians, whether we are industry practitioners like me, I'm in the aviation and aerospace industry. What is sustainability in the context that I am in the aerospace industry? Actually, sustainability is broadly used to indicate programs, plans or actions aimed at the preservation of a particular resources. What is the particular resources? Good quality air, fresh water, good environment, animals can live properly, human can live properly, there's no damages to the environment, there's no toxic, environmental air, so that the people can continue to live on. We have to preserve all these kind of good resources that is very, very limited on Earth. It's very limited, and we only have one Earth. So that is why sustainability, it actually means programs or initiative or action aimed at the preservation of a particular resources. Can be water, can be air, can be the climate, can be the way we live. Energies, electrical power, do we want to continue to use fossil fuel as our source of energy? All this we actually have to look from the perspective of sustainability effect. Now, when we talk about sustainability, the United Nations have listed down 17 sustainable development goals. 17, United Nations. But then if you look at it, This 17 Sustainable Development Goals actually supports the 4 pillars of the people in the world. 4 pillars. Number 1, the sustainability is actually for the human being to be able to continue to live, safely in this world. One of it is the pillar number 1 is the human being pillars. Human beings are supposed, people like you and me are supposed to live, peacefully, love, live in terms of, no issues, no problems, in terms of our survivability. That is number 1, sustainability for human. Number 2, sustainability for social. Okay, also related to human. What do you mean by sustainability for social? Anybody have an idea? If you see during the last 2 years, during the COVID-19 pandemic, when human beings have to lock out, isolated from each other, you can't even meet your parents, you cannot even see and talk to your neighbors, during the lockouts. So that is actually that is actually a social pillar, which means that actually human being actually need to be able to have a good social environment. We can interact each other, we can actually go to gardens, we can go shopping safely without any worry. So this is also one of the pillars of sustainability. We want a good social environment for the people to live. So it's very important that sustainability, we talk about humans, supporting the human, good human living being, good social environment. Now the third one is actually the third pillar is actually the economic of the world, economics of nation, economic of people. The sustainability should able to support people to live comfortably with actually good economic, good financial resources. Don't live in poverty. Everybody got food to eat. Everybody got a reasonable, clean home. Economically, these human beings are able to. People desire. This is the life that we desire. We don't want to live in a very poor condition. We don't want to live in a nak beli makan for breakfast pun tak ada duit. Everybody live very poorly. No. Sustainability is supposed to support a good economic environment. And the fourth one is actually the environmental. That means the trees that the trees that we have in this world. Do we have enough oxygen? Do we have a good weather? Do we actually have a good, clean, fresh water? All these environment are very friendly. It's supposed to allow us to live, healthily, in this world. So the main purpose of the sustainability is actually to support the 4 pillars: the human being, the social of the human living beings, the economic environment of the people of the world, and also the environmental condition of the world that we live in. So you can see this is actually a very noble kind of concept that the United Nations has developed, so that people like you and me can continue to live in this world. Our children, our grandchildren will have to continue to live in this world in all these 4 pillars in a very good environment, in a very good condition. So it's actually a very serious issue. Sustainability is actually a very serious issue. It is not just like another topic, another subject that is being bring out just for the purpose of interest. No, it is actually a condition that we are now already facing already. Yeah. So under the United Nations, they have actually laid out 17 goals, and these 17 goals actually support the 4 pillars that we mentioned just now. 17 goals. What are the 17 goals? Number 1, zero poverty. Tak mahu kemiskinan. Tak mau kemiskinan. And then zero hunger. Everybody got food to eat. Good health and well-being. Everybody can live, healthily. quality education. Everybody get to go and learn and study, graduate from universities, gender equality, you know, clean water and sanitization. We don't want bacteria, like for example, this recent COVID-19, we have so much of issues, in terms of disease and all those. So clean water and sanitization. We want affordable and clean energy. We want clean energy. We want recent work and decent work and economic growth. These are, and it goes on and goes on and it goes on. 17 of them. All of them does not deviate from the 4 pillars that I've mentioned just now. All of it: climate action, life below water, life on land, partnership for the goals, responsible consumption and production. Kita tak mau waste. We do not want to waste any food. We do not waste, resources. We don't want to waste energy. Everything is actually being saved, conserved, so that we actually have the energy for the future people to use. Okay, what is the current concern to the world now? Yeah. Of course, people will talk about, pandemic. People will talk about the climate and all those. So my focus here is actually for the topic, for the purpose of the discussion of this topic, is actually focused on the environmental pollution. Now, environmental pollution is very related to us in our daily work, how we do our work, especially engineers, technicians. Yeah, how does you as a technician, when you perform servicing on an aircraft engine or a motor engine, how do you work? How do you treat, the waste fuel, the waste oil? How do you treat it? Because technician, we are very much hands-on. Yeah. Now, the environmental pollution are actually divided into 5 areas. 5 areas. Number 1 is the air pollution from the factories. Now, in the factories, we have technicians who are working. In the water environment, in the sewerage system, yeah, we know that under the water supply system, the water pipings, the water connections, the valves and all those, who actually goes and work there? Also the technician. Soil, yeah, the soil that is actually contaminated by chemicals. Soil are being people just pour the toxic fluid just onto the ground. Grass also die, and then when the rain comes, the water actually wash the chemicals or the toxic waste into the drain, and then the drain go into our sewerage system, and then water are being recycled. All these are environmental pollution that is actually taking a toll on us. We are having problems. So as a technician, we have to see all these things in a very, very clear way. What we do today, as a technician, how we pour our oil, how we actually service our car or motorbikes, it has an impact to the environmental pollution. Yeah. And then lights, yeah, we are having, issue with lights, not enough lightings, or we are having issues with, lights that is a high power consumption. That's why in the last, 20 years, I think people has been going all out, yeah, for LED lightings. Why? Because LED lighting is a very much more low power consumption kind of lighting systems. And the other environmental pollution, yeah, noise, yeah, noise is also being considered as part of the environmental pollution. Yeah. For example, the noise from the cars, the excessive noise from the motorbike. Kadang-kadang, when I drive on the road, I will see some guys, that comes, and then with their motorbike exhaust, yeah, modified, and then dekat traffic light sana, and you can see he roar his engine, bang, bang, bang. Wow, so noisy. Those is actually environmental pollution. So when we talk about environmental pollution, that we as technicians, yeah, can be part of it. It is actually about the air pollution, water pollution, the soil pollution, the light pollution, and also the noise pollution. So we want to be very careful when we work in this kind of condition and situation. Yeah. You see the next slide. Okay. Now, probably some of us may not be exposed or have the information. Yeah. But I would like to share with you here. This is the data that actually been extracted from NASA. Yeah, from NASA website. Yeah. And NASA actually did a study in the current environment in the world now, from the references from the year 1880. Yeah, from the year 1880 until 2016, there is an increased high amount of carbon dioxide. Yeah, there's a high level of carbon dioxide that actually creates an overabundance of greenhouse gases that traps the heat on the Earth. So our Earth, yeah, our Earth generates heat, right? And these heats are supposed to be dissipated, you know, to the atmosphere. But because of there's so much of carbon dioxide, yep, excessively, the carbon dioxide now is actually blocking from the heat from actually dissipate into the space. So what happened? We have global warming. We have actually global warming. And from 1880 until the 2016, the rise of temperature has actually rise from minus 0.2 to actually 1.2 degrees in 2016. In 2016. This is actually, people will say, ini baru 1 degree C saja mana ada banyak, you know, we can't even feel the difference. No, yeah. Human being, maybe you don't feel it, but the environment, the earth, the ice, you know, the North Pole ice, the Antarctic ice, the Arctic ice, all these are very, very sensitive, and they will melt. The living beings in the sea, the plants, you know, all of them, they actually feel the effect very seriously. When we don't have plants, we don't have oxygen. When the vegetables cannot grow, yeah, we don't have the veggie, we cannot, you know, how are we going to survive? Correct or not? So actually we have to take it seriously, even though it is 1 degrees or 1.2 degrees, we have to actually do it as some drastic action as soon as possible. Yeah. Now this is what you see. Yeah. Here. Yeah. Sometimes the action of what we do, whether as a technician, whether as an engineers, yeah, we will know that sometimes by things that we do, giving a rise of 1 degree centigrade, 1 degree centigrade on Earth only, you will see the whole world changes. You can see here on the diagram here on the forest here, yeah, forest extinction, yeah, with minimal fresh water. You can see the diagram 1982 and this diagram here. You can see in 1982, we can see fresh water, and there's a lot of trees and plants and all those. But if you look at the current situation, the same river area here, it is totally dry up. There's no water. Plants are dead. When we don't have plants, we don't have oxygen. Correct or not? Because plants help us to survive, you know, by giving us oxygen. Water lakes, yeah, water lakes are drying up. You can see here, this is one of the lake, that picture taken from the satellite in 1984. But today, if you look at the satellite, the same picture again, you can see this lake has actually dried up almost completely. No fresh water. No fresh water. Sometimes we feel that we're living in Malaysia, right? We have flood here, flood there. We think a lot of water, right? But even flooding is already an issue already. But what more if we don't have any water in the future? Do we have a responsible? Yes, we as technicians, we have a responsible. We can play our part, our role, yeah, in terms of taking care of the environment. And then here we have coral seas in 1984, yeah, corals and sea habitats extinction. If you can see here on the left picture here, you can see there's nice, beautiful corals and fishes that is actually swimming, in the sea. But then if you look at the current environment, the corals are actually dead, you know. The fish and all those are actually died. are dying. And last part here, if you look at here, the crops, the food that we plant, you know, jagung ke, or kita tanam tembikai ke, you know, potatoes ke, the crops are actually dying. This is all because of 1 degree temperature rise only. Kita belum cakap 1.2. And in fact, we are heading towards 2 degrees centigrade. 2 degrees centigrade. All of us, yeah, we have to fight this, protect this environment, implement sustainable development action, you know, sustainable action mindset in the things that we do every day. Afterwards, I'm going to share a little bit how we're going to do it, yeah. So 1 degrees rise in centigrade, yeah, you will see people die. People die because of the increasing heat. Ecosystem collapse, you know, the ecosystem, you know, from the rain to the river to the sea, and then recycle back up into those to the cloud, you know, and then rain again. These are all going through problems. Yeah, 1 degree centigrade also caused 1/3 of the life on Earth will face extinction. 1/3, yeah, 33%, you know, will die. You know, plants will grow. Plants grow will be very slow and then stop. Ataupun the plants will grow, ada berbuah tapi dalam tak ada isi. This is all possible, you know. And then the food will become a problems. You know, we don't have enough food for the people, and the people keep on increasing. And today we have 7 billions of people, you know, and then we are facing the environmental pollution, food shortages, and all those. So this is all the problem. So intensive wave, you know, ice are actually what they call it. Ice are actually you know, melting. You know, coastal area are going to flood up. You know, all this just because of 1 degree centigrade. Yeah, and we as a technician, yeah, we have our role to play. What we can do to ensure that, you know, we are part of the sustainable development element that can help the world. Yeah. Now, if you look at this here, you look at the containers, the rubbish, you know, you can see the oil on this picture here. You can see this poor little tortoise here filled with, you know, filled with black oil. And then you can see here, these people just pour, you know, just dump the chemicals onto the ground and all those. Now, all these environmental issues are actually caused by people, especially engine oils, like black oils, like this, chemical like this, you know, some of the dumps, you know, the rubbish dumps like this, yeah. All these are actually sometimes we as a technician, we are operate in the environment. For example, like in aircraft maintenance, yeah, every week we drain the fuel from the airplane. Why are we draining the fuel? Whenever the airplane don't fly, what we have to do is that we drain the fuel out, because the water will settle down inside the fuel. So we have to drain the fuel plus the water. I mean, we do the sampling, you know, sometimes 1 liter, 2 liters, 3 liters. Now, after you drain the fuel, what are you going to do? How are you going to handle the fuel? This is what we do. You know, we have to actually take the waste fuel and put it in a proper disposal place. You know, some people don't want. Some people just go to the grass and then they just pour it in the grass, you know, and then they just walk away. That is not what a technician does. A responsible technician who understands the issue of sustainability, you will drain the fuel, you will drain the oil, you will comply to the Environmental Act. You don't simply dispose it. Yeah, you don't simply dispose it. You know how you throw. You know, sometimes technicians on the floor, you know, the engineers are not there, the management are not there, they cannot be seeing us working all the time. It is our own self-discipline that understand that this fuel is, you know, can be a contaminant or can be damaging to the environment. Therefore, we have to take care of it, put it in a proper disposal area, seal it properly, you know, dispose it, you know, according to the rules and the regulations. This is our technician's duty. You know, it is not just, you know, the boss's duty. You know, the boss also don't care. Not like this. We, at our very own position as a technician, we think, we use our brain, we are responsible people, we are important people, we do it properly. Otherwise, it will end up like what you see in this picture here. You can see from here, very much of it is because of technical people, right? People who do related to technical things. Yeah. This is also another picture that I put out, just to share with everybody. Now, if the environment is changing, if the environment is bad, this is how we're gonna face. You tanam jagung, tapi tengok jagung semua mati. You hope to see water, tapi you tengok tak ada air. Even the tanah already start cracking already, and all you see, this small cute little girl here, so pitiful. She cannot say anything. Imagine this is our daughter, and she don't want iPhone. Dia tak mau iPhone, tak mau iPad. What she wants is just, can you just give me a fair, decent food to eat or not? That is the worst situation that we are facing. That is a very, very bad situation that we could face if we don't put the sustainable, the concept of, protecting the environment, the concept of protecting the earth, in our daily work. Doesn't matter, teacher ke, technician ke, engineers ke, managers ke, everybody need to have this mindset. Yeah. Now, this is actually one of the news that we can see actually in the year 2020. Yeah, 40 barrels of chemicals found at Taman Willock's facility. This is some people who are doing business, production, but then the toxic chemicals, toxic chemicals are not treated properly. Yeah, so they found it, and then, sometimes, when they do not know how to dispose it, they don't comply to the rules, they just pour into the river, they just pour, because they don't have the understanding of sustainability concept. And recently in the last 1 year or one and a half years, we have a waste, chemical waste, factory waste are being disposed into the Sungai Selangor, and we face a situation where the water has to be, bekalan air kena stop. Why? Because whoever who was working, in the factory, whether the chemicals, you drain the chemical out, the technicians drain the chemical out, and then you just put it and take it to the riverside, and then you just pour it. Cannot. Cannot. That is not our duty. That is very irresponsible. Very irresponsible. So we have to actually think of our future and the generations to come, because global warming or even the environmental pollution destabilizes the climate, create economic, political, and social chaos. Sure, will chaotic one, especially when there's no food to eat, or when there is when there is flooding, the transportation system fail, food cannot deliver, pokok yang ditanam, sayur yang ditanam, because of the flood, the also mati, So how? Extreme heat, plant cannot grow. So how? What will happen? The food price will soar, and then the harga food will be naik, and then this food sources also tak ada. So what happened? The people will become unrest. The social unrest will happen, and then people start robbing, people start fighting, people start stealing, and then a lot of people will get involved, and then violence, violence will happen, and then people will actually get injured, die, all these things. So sustainability is actually a very serious issue, Sustainability is actually a very serious issue. So if we are in a position of technical, especially for the technician perspective, we have to plan and do our work, with this sustainable in place, sustainable development in place. Why? Because technicians, you are everywhere. Technicians are in everywhere. Don't talk about technicians and aircraft. We are talking about the workshop, car workshop. Technicians are there. The motorbike workshop technicians are there. Our aircon yang sudah rosak, like now I'm in a room, the aircon sudah rosak, you know. It is, you need the technician to be there to actually help to actually repair the technical fault, you know, whether it's a traffic light or water system or even the computer systems, or technicians are everywhere around us. Because technician is everywhere, what they do and how they dispose things, how they handle the work, how they actually, whether there's any wastage, you know, all these actually impact the environment around us. So you have to look at technician as actually a professional, because we are the people who actually are in almost every industry to give a good livelihood for the people, to the community. They are the people, technicians are the people to repair, install, replace, inspect, troubleshoot, service different system and equipment. Baru-baru ni hari raya, because the border sudah open, semua boleh balik kampung. Betul tak? Jam pun tak apa. You know, jam. The petrol station dekat apa ni, East Coast. Everybody go in pump petrol. Sampai petrol station pun tak ada minyak. Why? Because everybody goes back to celebrate the Hari Raya. But can you imagine kalau kita, everything was ready, you know, we pack for food, kita nak balik kampung, jumpa kita punya parents, you know, tetapi kita punya kereta tiba-tiba dia rosak. And it's a public holiday. You know, kita nak cari orang pun tak ada. This is the time you realize that, oh my God, how good if there is a car technician here who can help me to solve this problem. Baru masa tu kita akan terasa begitu pentingnya, you know, juruteknik yang kita ada. They are not the dirty hands fellows, no. They are professional, skilled professional people. So we have to understand that even the law today in Malaysia, the registrations of Engineer Act, already amended in 2015 to actually include the technician to come into the registration for professional development. Malaysian Board of Technologies Act, you know, they have also included the technician to be certified as a professional. So kita boleh understand that technician is equally important to the engineers. It's just that their training and the practices, their academic background, they have actually did up to the technician punya level. Tapi, can they make the difference and impact to the environment? Yes, definitely yes. Okay. Now, there are a total of, under the Malaysian Board of Technologies, there are total 24 of technological field. Yeah, of course, some of the technicians work that we cannot actually group them into this 24 field. Tapi we know that the technician is everywhere. So this is a group, the grouping that has done by the Malaysian Board of Technologies. Atmospheric science, there are technicians there. Green technology, there's technicians there. Telecommunication system, there are technicians there. Building and construction, biotechnology, nuclear technology, all these have technicians there. Total of 24 field. And they know that these technicians are professionals, and therefore they bagi their professional pathway. So important. Now, not just we do not want a technician who just, you know, buat kerja saja lah. Yeah, we don't want them to just focus, you know, okay, saya buat kerja saja. Tapi tak understand, tak faham concept of sustainable development. Dia tak masukkan it did not implement the sustainable development practices or sustainable practices into their daily work. Okay, let's say I'm a technician today. How do I inculcate or incorporate sustainable development on the field? Yeah, like me, I work on the aircraft operations, engineering operations, maintenance operations. How do I actually build the sustainable development concept? Number one, build a more positive and sustainable work culture. Tak ada wastage. Yeah, we don't waste things. No, we actually have a very positive. Hey, guys, come, let's gather all the oils and the fuel, and then let's put it properly, and then let's contact and check with the safety manager or the environmental manager. How are we going to dispose this so that everyone, his chemical are safe, and then we do not harm the environment. Very positive culture. Tak adalah macam ni. Banyak minyak lah, lantak lah, saya just buang dekat tepi jalan lah, ataupun buang kat atas rumput lah. No, that is a very, very negative culture. So we want a positive culture. Okay, let's gather this, kumpul, use the proper container, put it in the container, seal it properly, kita taruh label, kita taruh date, and then we know that this is danger. Then we'll put the warning label on top there. Kita accumulate at a safe place. This is a sustainable work culture. Tak ada sekejap sini, sekejap sana satu. There's one jar of oil there, and then another box of engine oil can, empty oil cans or just on the floor. Tak ada. So positive work culture, very important. Yeah, very important. Number 2. Now we want to execute technical work, that can preserve natural resources. So what does it mean? Okay, for example, we know that we have to wash, let's say we have to wash the car or we have to wash the aircraft. So we will use, the water as, we do not want to have any wastage as much as possible. The chemical that we use, we put it in a proper area that's designated for chemical washing, so we just do it at the right place. Tak adalah just get it and then get the the chemical and just wash on the floor, and just like this. No, that is not. We actually have to do a proper work environment, the place, the venue, so that we can preserve the natural resources as much as possible. Cost efficient process. If we can do it in 3 steps instead of 5 steps, then we will actually use the process to actually there's 3-step process, especially after you have consult with the engineers, after you have talked to the technicians, and then you have referred to the manufacturers, OEMs punya manual, and this process is allowed, then you will actually use that cost efficient step. Instead of doing the work for using 5 steps, you use the work in 3 steps within the allowable limit. This one, the technician will actually know one. Sometimes the engineers, they are actually in the office, they wouldn't know one. But you, because you are doing the work every day, and by doing 1, 2, 3 steps instead of 4, 5 steps, you will know that it actually reached the same effect. So you have to feedback to the engineers, to the management, that let's do it in a shorter step. So that is actually what you say is a cost efficient processes. Okay, and then support human sustainability. Any initiative by the management or by the company that you understand that actually it can actually support human sustainability, give a better environment. Sometimes it might take a little bit longer, but then you see that it's actually protecting the environment. So you support it. Let's do it. Positive culture. Let's do it. It's okay. We do a additional half an hour, but as long as the environmental is safe, let's do it. So support human sustainability initiatives, and then preserve the natural environment. Like sometimes I think, I see some people after they drain the chemicals from the factory or the plant, they just go out to the river to pour it, or they go to the longkang and they just pour it in, or sometimes they just, pour it on the grass or pour it on the tree, mati, the pokok mati, so that does not preserve the environment. Pack it up properly, seal it up, label it, keep it away from the, plants or pokok and all those. Keep it in the place, where it is designated, for the waste disposal. So these are the, on the field, these are the things that we can actually do actually as a technician, yeah. Now, some, because technician, we are using technical hand skill, we are interface with technical work, we interface with technological equipment, we interface with instrument, we interface with lights, machine, engines, and all those. So in terms of innovation and technology perspective, technicians like us, yeah, we can actually use technology that can improve the efficiency and effectiveness of work processes. Yeah, for example, yeah, dalam for example, when we wash the let's say we wash the airplane, instead of using a straight hose, a garden hose, we will come up, we'll check in the market whether there's technology where we can actually spray the water big and wide. So instead of you spraying one single spot with a garden hose, you're actually spraying the water in a very widespread. Therefore, you can, one spray of water per second is being shed into much bigger area. So that is actually using technology to improve work processes. Kita boleh. Yeah, kita boleh. Especially we as a technician on the floor, kita tahu. When we look at the work, we know that, I think this one, I can do it in a better way. Change the pressure, or adjust the nozzle, and then we'll do it. Yeah. Number two is that from the innovation and technology perspective, what we can do is actually we can provide inputs, bagi ideas, to the engineers, to the OEMs, bagi ideas, feedback to them. Hey, I think for this particular work, instead of using straight tool angle, we can modify a tool and then use at the half moon tool, and a half moon tool, you'll be able to access the work and complete the work 30 minutes faster. So kita provide input. I remember last time when I was in MAS last time, we have certain technicians who are very good and experienced. And then to remove a few control unit from the engines, setengah orang dia pakai 2 jam. Yeah. But this technician, the experienced one, they can remove it in 45 minutes. But then when you go and check, how come they can remove so fast one, no damage one? Then you go and see the toolbox, they actually have special tools that they actually design and develop, for the purpose of the work. After that, I also learned, every time I find difficulty in removing certain parts, then I will come up with some idea. If I have a tool that I can modify and then weld it at the certain angles, and then put a drive there, and then I'll be able to remove this faster. That is actually provide inputs and ideas to improve the work processes. Boleh, kita technician memang boleh. Yeah, memang boleh. Sometimes we go underneath the engines, underneath the what do you call it, the car or vehicles. You feel that your back is always pain. Your back is always pain. So you come up with you can draw something out, and then you say, let's modify, let's go and make a trolley, with this position in, and then we'll slide it underneath and we test it. Memang saya pun pernah buat. So provide inputs, to create ideas, create new technologies to engineers or technologies. Kita memang bagi idea. And then research and stimulate innovation to engineers. So kalau the technologies or the technician comes down, engineers comes and asks us, do you have any idea how we can do it better? You should be very, very positive and participative, and then give them ideas, share your opinions. Salah pun tak apa. But at least support the research and stimulate innovation for the engineers and the technologies. So becoming a technician, for you all, you should understand that becoming a technician is no more just like, remove and put, and then balik rumah. Bukannya. The modern technician nowadays, they are also very, very forward thinking one. That's why the Board of Engineers, MBOT, are developed, are formed to recognize all these good people, technical people, that is actually very important for the sustainability of the nation. No more like, saya buka, tutup, itu saja. Saya keluarkan and then balik rumah. Bukan lagi macam tu, ya. So, what are the measures, that can be taken by the technician in order to achieve the sustainable development goals, These are some of the items that I have actually laid out. Number one, avoid damaging the environment. This is something that we can do in whichever position. You mungkin kerja dekat shipyard, you mungkin kerja dekat airport, you mungkin kerja dekat dekat building and services ataupun dalam factory. Avoid damaging the environment. You comply to the rules and regulations. If you are not sure, go and see the manager, or you can always download the environmental protection punya guidelines from the internet nowadays. Kalau company tak ada, they ignore us, then at least you should actually raise the concern to the management that we are living in a sustainable world, and these are the act that is actually being enforced. I suggest we look into this area, and then you yourself, the way we work also, make sure that we comply. I'm sure the management will understand when they see the technician doing the right things. I'll be very happy, especially my technicians. So I had, I think about 12 or 13 technicians under me. I will be very happy, especially when I see them, they know how to organize, the waste. They know how to dispose the products. They know how to actually pack, the products so that it is not damaged. It is being well kept. That is actually something that technicians can do. The other thing technician can do is that use energy efficient appliances. Especially like just now I mentioned, instead of menthol bulb, or the old lampu Kalimantan, today we use LED lightings, safe LED lighting. It does not become ignition sources, this low power, low voltage, tapi dia terang. These are actually energy efficient appliances. Avoid wasting of resources. Wasting of resources ni banyak. Time is actually a resource. Can be considered a resource. Don't waste time. Water, don't waste water. Energy, don't waste energy. Electricity, don't waste electricity. Don't waste lights. Don't waste fuel. Don't waste racks. Racks are the one that we use to clean the aircraft or clean, the technical work that we do. Don't waste the racks. Try to use the racks as much as maximize the utilization of the racks. Saya tengok kadang-kadang dulu, especially, I can see some people just throw the racks, baru wipe sekali saja, and then never you fully utilize the rack, and then they just throw it. So that is actually a wastage. There's a wastage. And then don't waste consumables, oil, fluid, the what they call chemicals, just use it as and much that we require. Money also resources. Don't waste money. Don't waste money. Everybody should know lah. Okay. Repair. Okay. Measures that can be taken by the technicians. Whenever there is a equipment damage or unserviceable, we always go into the prospect of whether it can be repairable or not. Technician. Like for me, last time I had encountered one case. There was a door that actually cannot open. And I saw the technician just say that, the door is not working, change the door, But then when I go down and look at the door and actually look at why does the door, as a technician, why does the door cannot be closed properly? Then I see other dia punya interface, this interference. So I use a file and I file it off, paint it back again, and then test it again. I repair the door and it's working. So instead of just take out the door, throw it, buy a new door, we try our attempt to repair, because we are technicians. Technicians are supposed to be able to repair items. Recycle. Whenever we can, we recycle containers, we recycle if it's allowed by the rules, by the laws. For example, some of the rags that we use to clean, we know we can actually wash it properly according to the procedures, and then we sadaikan and then let it dry, and then we're going to reuse again. So don't. These are the areas that we actually can do as a technician. Don't waste them, and then avoid using plastics. Yeah, this is actually one situation where what they call it. Plastic is known to be actually detrimental to the environment. So avoid using the plastics. And also, now that we understand the environmental condition, the environmental pollution, the negative impact, into the world that we are living in, help to educate the peers. That means your friends, your working colleagues. Share with them, especially if they don't understand what is sustainability. Help to educate them and also the children in the community that we are actually living now in a very fragile environment. Yeah, everybody, whether you're technician or non-technician, you actually can actually contribute to sustainability one, whether in the house or at your workplace. And also the most important, don't wait until besok lusa lah. We can start immediately as of today. Yeah, start immediately. Understand, have the concept of sustainability, and then comply to the rules and the regulations. Yeah, in our work, always look at the the bigger perspective. Yeah, sometimes it may be little bit troublesome, but then for the future of the sustainability of the world, we should do it. Okay. Now, this is actually some of the examples of the sustainable development that the world are actually working very hard. If you're a technician who are involved in all this, Tanya, if you are a researcher, or you are the engineers or technologists who are involved in all this, you have to understand that we are all searching for the sustainable development sources. Yeah, and one of it is wind energy. Yeah, how can we harvest the wind energy in order to produce work? We currently harness wind energy to actually produce electricity. Yeah, we also harness the sunlight. Yeah, to actually to get solar energy. Yeah, solar energy, and this wind energy and solar energy has been quite extensive. Yeah, that we have been using, but then it's still not sufficient. Yeah, it is still not sufficient. And then crop rotation. Yeah, crop rotation means we plant the crops at different timing. Plant the crops at different rotate the crops. Mungkin masa ni pakai tanam padi, and then the next one mungkin tanam something else. Rotate the crop rotation because we want to conserve the soil punya quality. Yeah, so these are something that we do. Sustainable construction. Yeah, sustainable construction means we use don't do any use any toxic kind of materials. We use construction design that is actually can last for a long time. And not susceptible to damages easily. And then the other one is actually very important one is actually efficient water fixtures. Especially we as a technician, when we want to water is so important for us, right? So when we want to fix certain water pipings, water supply hose and all those, we actually use think about it and then use it and design the flow of the water fixtures in a very, very effective way. Yeah, in very, very efficient way. And of course, green space. Green space means generally it means that we have plants law, we have grass law, we have trees law. If we go to Singapore, we realize that sometimes, in a lot of places in Singapore, chopping off the trees are not allowed by the law. Yeah, are not allowed by the law. Why? Because of green space requirement. In Malaysia, kita tengok tak ada, kita potong saja kan. Tapi this is not a good practice because why? We need green space for sustainability. And the other one is sustainable forestry lah. Ya, forestry kita memang perlukan natural resources like the pokok kan. Tapi you cannot simply just potong pokok macam tu, just potong sajalah. Because why? We are actually disturbing the eco balance of the world, of the planet Earth. So we have to do a very well planned, protected, sustainable kind of forestry program. Dia kena macam itu. Yeah. So technician can be involved. Yes, of course, technician, all of us can be involved. Yeah. So generally, those are the things that for me, from my perspective, in the past experience, how the technician view yourself, you view yourself, the importance and how you can contribute to the sustainable development goals, in the working, in our daily living world, in our working life, I think we have to see this very seriously, because if we don't look after the environmental pollution, if we don't actually take action now, these are the impact, some of the impact that you can see on the environmental pollution. Number one, infant mortality. Kita birth, childbirth, dia keluar saja, dia come being born, and then dia tak boleh, he cannot sustain, he will die. So that is actually infant mortality. Anak-anak yang dilahirkan, dia live a very short life and then they die. Because why? Because of the environmental pollution. Mental disorders, environmental pollution can also cause mental disorders, and then can also cause the risk, increase the risk of respiratory illness and cardiovascular problems, penyakit jantung, pernafasan. We can see what pernafasan is so important. Tengok COVID-19, like one of my staff, dia kena COVID-19 tahun lepas, bulan April, and he was struggling trying to breathe in one breath of air. He was struggling, nyaris meninggal. But you can see from here the importance of the respiratory good, air quality for us. We do not want to develop any respiratory problems. And then lagi satu, increase the skin disease. Increase the skin disease if the environmental keep on polluting, and we technician, if we don't do our roles and our duties, increase the risk of cancer, can increase the global warming as well, can create, can support and create acid rain if we are not careful, we also can actually damage the ozone, damage the ozone layer, and then we, not only human beings are being affected, and there are wildlife, animals also cannot live. And I believe all of us have seen many pictures and videos where the tortoise die, the whales die, birds die, so many animals cannot survive. So therefore, the sustainability, especially from our perspective as a technician, there are things that we can do. There are definitely things that we can do to avoid, the damaging to the environment. And therefore, we has a role to actually ensure sustainability, even as a technician. Okay, we need to change this starting today, Basically, this is my last slide, and I felt that this message here is very important. Sustainability is treating ourselves and our environment as if we are to live on this earth forever. Dia buat macam tu lah. Because we don't only think of ourselves, we think of our children, we also think of our grandchildren, and the future generations. We have to treat it that this is the only earth that we have, that we're going to live on, our generation is going to live on for a long time. Therefore, we want to have the concept of sustainability inside the way we live, the way we work, you know, in the way we perform our duties, our job, especially as a technician. Yeah. So that ends my presentation, and I now open up for question and answers, and I'll pass back the mic, the floor to Professor Dr. Yasir, TS Dr. Yasir. Thank you for your attention.